Hey Bellas and fellas, welcome to my YouTube channel. I decided to start recording videos again and posting because I'm on this journey and there are so much things that I am discovering about myself, about healing, about grief, about self-care, about personal growth that I don't want to keep to myself. I did not plan to do this today, but I was in my DMs in my Instagram and I was reading a couple of questions that a grieving mother had sent me. And the interesting thing is, she's not grieving the loss of a child like I am. She's actually grieving a marriage. She's going through a very difficult divorce. I was looking at the questions and she asked me three questions. Let's just say there was about four or five, but I'm picking out three in particular. And as I was answering her questions and going back and forth, I realized that there are so many people that are grieving different things in their lives, right? But my answers apply to whether you're grieving a child, finances, a parent, going through a divorce like she is. The answers are pretty much the same. And so I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put together 10 questions. I'm going to go through some of my DMs and I'm going to put together 10 questions that I'm often asked. So what I'm doing in this video is I'm going to answer all 10 of these questions. I handpicked these questions just to share with you for my very first video on YouTube since the passing of my son. I did post one video while we were in Colombia, but I haven't posted since. And just before my son passed away, I was working on rebuilding my YouTube channel. I was posting consistently once a week, twice a week at times. And then, well, I lost my twin soul, my best friend. So things have been a bit shaky as I am rediscovering this new person. I didn't just lose my son. I'm grieving a few different things. I'm grieving for my son, Captain, who's grieving his brother. I'm grieving the woman that I lost that died when he died. So it's a lot of work getting to know this new woman that has emerged, that's emerging. Looking forward to share some of the things that are working for me, some of the things I wish I probably didn't do while I was grieving in the first year, and what's working, what's not working. Here are 10 questions. I'm going to go through them one by one. I put them in order. I'm not going to stay on each question too long, so here it goes. What are the first steps to healing and experiencing a major loss? I get asked this all the time. I would say the first steps to healing after experiencing a major loss. Now, whether that is, again, a marriage, a job, an elderly parent, your home, your child. The very first thing that I did and that I don't regret is I cut out the noise. I made sure to protect my space and my peace when my son passed away. So, and if you're going through any other form of loss, protect your peace. Don't start talking a lot and interacting with tons of people and letting everybody come over, and you're never alone, you're never quiet in your thoughts. That is the most, I think, dangerous thing that you can do. Now, what I did was different from what I've seen a lot of people in my culture, in the Portuguese culture or the West Indian culture. I was, raised in the West Indian culture. I did something different. Most of my family members and friends when someone passes away, they have everybody come over and everyone's there every day for 2-3 weeks and 4 weeks and 5 weeks. And then everybody goes back to their life and you're left alone by yourself. Now you got to face the reality that you were running from the beginning because you were so afraid to be alone. I wasn't around a lot of people. I stayed close with those that I was already close with prior to losing my son. And if you're going through a divorce, that is probably one of the regrets I have while I was going through my divorce, is that I was, talking to everybody about what was going on and what was happening and the drama and the gossip. And I was never quiet in my thoughts, and it was really noisy up here. And so I believe that when we take the time to just be still, connect with what's really happening, only share with those that you are close with, your small knit community, then you really are protecting your peace and you're making space for healing, or to even start that healing journey. Second question: how do you start finding purpose when you feel lost or stuck in life? Oh my gosh. This is a great question. When my son passed away, like I said, I also died on that day. And so, as a motivational speaker and coach and mentor, healer, light worker, server, servant, philanthropist, I truly believed for the first 5, 6, 7 months, 8 months, that I would never speak again, that I would never desire to speak again. Because I thought, to be a motivational speaker, you have to be motivated. And I wasn't motivated. I felt just dead inside, and I had no clue what I was going to do. I actually thought, okay, I'll go back to school and I'll study something, and then I'll go and just get a regular 9 to 5 doing that thing, whatever it is I chose to study. And I could hear my son Keno's voice telling me and saying, Mama Dukes, are you kidding me? You were born to do what it is that you do. You're born to empower and inspire women to heal, thrive, and elevate. And what better time to do that than now? Now, going through this rebirth and rediscovering myself and rebuilding myself, what better time to do it than now? And I would hear him consistently in my spirit. Every time I was thinking, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that, or maybe I'll go get a job here or go get a job there. And I would just hear him, no, Mama Dukes, your purpose is bigger than ever right now. And so my answer to that is, how do you start finding purpose when you feel lost or stuck in life? I would say to do exactly what I did to discover my purpose in the first place in my 20s, which is to volunteer. Volunteer your time in an organization that is related to something you're passionate about. I knew at a very young age that I wanted to work with youth. I knew this in my teens. I wanted to be a teacher. And so I knew since childhood that I wanted to be a teacher. But in my teens, while I was going through a lot of, darkness and pain and abuse, and I knew that I wanted to get out of that. I wanted to find a way out and then use my story to contribute to the healing of the world when it comes to youth. I like to say priority youth. I don't like the word at-risk youth, because I think we're all at risk of something. So priority youth. I knew I wanted to work with young girls in particular at a very young age. And so in my 20s, I started volunteering. I was volunteering in youth prisons, in youth shelters, women's shelters, at church. I did quite a bit of volunteering at church with the youth ministry. And that was where I really came into this belief of knowing that I was going to be a motivational speaker. And that is how I started, was youth empowerment, youth speaking. So I say volunteer. If you want to be a fashion designer, a fashion stylist, I was a wardrobe stylist for 10 years. And basically, I started off with volunteering my time, helping out on music sets, on music video sets. And there I was like, oh my gosh, this is so dope. And I started at a very young age doing like wardrobe styling. And so again, back to volunteering. So if you're feeling stuck, you're feeling lost, just go and volunteer your time. You know, Tony Robbins once said, I've also heard Joyce Myers and a whole bunch of other motivational speakers say that the fastest way to heal is to help someone else heal, is to volunteer your time. The quickest way to discover what it is you want to do is to volunteer your time. And so not only are you volunteering to discover what it is you want to do and to see, hey, is this really my passion? Is this what I want to do? But you're also healing in the midst of it, right? So volunteering your time to help someone else, it helps you in return. I think it helps you first. You know, as you're helping, as you're serving, you're like, wow, like I'm starting to feel really good about myself. So volunteer your time. Just find an organization, find a company that you can create your own movement. I have street projects where I provide aid for the homeless. I created that myself, right? So you can just create your own thing and don't do it for money. Don't let money be the driving force to discovering your purpose, right? Number 3. What advice would you give to someone who's struggling to forgive themselves or someone else? Now, that question that I just said, that's not how it was asked. So normally it's, how do I forgive my ex-husband? How do I forgive my mother? How do I forgive? And I get that a lot. I get it so often that I actually created a Forgive to Freedom course. I designed a Forgive to Freedom ebook. I recorded a Forgive to Freedom audiobook because I get asked this all the time. So, what advice would I give to someone who's struggling to forgive themselves or someone else? I'm going to start with forgiving yourself because really it starts there. Even when you're forgiving someone else, you're letting yourself go. You're forgiving yourself. You're letting go of the, oh, I should have and I could have and why didn't I and why did he and this should have, you're letting go of that. Right? So you're really forgiving yourself. You're letting yourself go. I think we harbor unforgiveness in our hearts in so many different areas of our life. Like if we're not working out, we're being hard on ourselves. We're criticizing our bodies. We're looking in the mirror. I'm too fat. I'm bloated. Oh my gosh, look at my hips. Look at my bum. Look at my legs. Like we're constantly criticizing ourselves in all different areas, whether it's work related, parenting, right? We hold like the most guilt in that area. We're constantly just criticizing and speaking really death over ourselves, right? In different areas of our life. So I would say the advice that I would give if you're struggling with unforgiveness is to ask yourself, like, what is this doing for me? While I'm carrying this hatred or animosity, what exactly is this doing for me? What's it doing to me? More than likely, it's draining you. More than likely, it's causing you to, talk about it, right? More than likely, it's creating hatred in your heart towards this person or yourself. So really get clear, and answer this on paper. Write it out. What is this unforgiveness doing for me? Nothing good. Nothing positive can come out of unforgiveness. Nothing. If I let go of this animosity and this hatred and this unforgiveness, what can happen for me? What area of my life, where can I soar? How will I soar? How will I become better? How can I talk about this? How can I teach someone else to forgive and let go? How free, how liberated will I be if I let this go? Completely liberated. Let me just tell you, One of the things I'm grateful for when it comes to my son's passing is that I have no regrets. We had such a beautiful relationship. He was my best friend, and there are so many parents out there that don't get to experience what we experienced for 30 years. And for those of you who are living in regret or unforgiveness, whether it's towards yourself or someone else, someone who's passed, someone who's no longer here, get clear with what it is that you're holding on to, those regrets, what you're upset about within yourself, what you didn't do or what you did. Write it in a letter. Write it in a letter, bring it to that person's burial, bring it to the water, read it, let it go. Let that go. It's not going to do any good for you. That person who's passed, he or she has forgiven you. Write everything you're thinking and feeling, put it in a paper, let it go, bring it to the burial wherever they are. If you have ashes at home like I do, maybe perhaps put it in a little envelope underneath the urn, right? So just let it go. Forgive and let go so that you can feel liberated and just be at peace. The fourth question, what are some practical ways that I can practice self-care while I'm grieving? Whether you're grieving a marriage, a job, just grieving in general. What are some practical ways to practice self-care? I am driven by community. I am not the type of person that can just get up and work out every day from home without some live interaction, right? I'm getting better at it now. I can easily turn on a YouTube video and follow along with the workout without it being live. But if it's something you're struggling with, find a live community, whether that is on Facebook group, whether that is within your community, your family, your friends, Instagram, TikTok. Find a community that you can be a part of, where you can challenge yourself to grow in that specific area. So if it's eating habits, if it's exercising, find a community of women or men or both that are mastering that habit, the habit of eating healthier, the habit of working out, and then join in on that community. That is where, the momentum grows. That is where, you find partners to hold you accountable. That's where you get motivated. You log in and every day they're posting and replying and commenting. And there's magic in community. I would say to find a community that you can belong to and just start growing and healing, serving, receiving in that community. Fifth question. Because of time, I'm actually going to skip a couple of those. How can I find self-love and acceptance when I feel like I'm not good enough? Now, I get that question a lot. It's not asked exactly in those words, but something like that. I'm going to say this. I say this to my youth. I say this to women when I'm speaking to women. Self-love isn't some magical thing that just happens because I decided to wake up and say, I'm going to love myself more today. It doesn't work that way. Self-love is work. It is work. What do I mean by that? I have to put in the time and the energy and the money to love myself more, to feel more worthy. How do I do that? When I'm reading, I feel smarter. That makes me feel more worthy. When I'm taking care of my skin, I feel more glowy. I just feel better about my skin when I'm taking care of my skin, when I'm exfoliating, when I'm cleansing, when I'm doing facials, right? When I'm really caring for my skin and my body, that makes me feel more worthy. I start to feel better about myself. When I'm working out, when I'm taking care of my body, when I'm exercising, I'm empowered, whether I'm walking, whether I'm riding my bike, whether I'm lifting weights. I'm feeling more empowered. I'm feeling better about myself. I'm feeling more worthy. When I'm taking care of my finances, I feel better. So you have to put in the work in all different areas of your life. When you're in a healthy relationship, When your friendships are healthy, they make you feel worthy. It makes you feel better about life, about yourself. So if you're, if you're engaged with toxic people and in a toxic relationship, you are going to feel very unworthy. And I have experienced that, being involved with a toxic person and you're sitting there going, oh my God, like this person is ugly. Like, how did I end up here with like this ugly person who has this ugly character and just drama and controlling and just ugly? We have friends like that. We have partners like that. Well, there's no way that can make you feel worthy. It's going to make you feel unworthy. So check your circle, check your habits, really ask yourself, like, what can I do to make myself feel better? And the better you feel is the more worthy you'll feel. Next question. What are some signs that I might be suppressing emotions instead of healing them? If you are not spending enough time alone, you're not healing. I went through a phase about 7 or 8 months after my son passed where I was so scared to be like alone, meaning like no one around, like not my sisters, not my friends, not my sons, like nobody around from the very beginning. Even though I kept my circle very tight and I was only really communicating within that circle, I was afraid to not have that circle at all. Like I was afraid to be home alone. And this went on for months. If we start getting into that, I don't like being alone, I never want to be alone, that really means I'm afraid to face my reality. I don't want to face what's really happening right now. And so I'm busy. So I'm either busy with this small circle of people or busy, doing, and never being. And the only time that we're truly being, 100% truly being with ourselves, our thoughts, our pain, our struggles, our frustrations, or whatever it is, right? All this stuff that's going on up here is when we're alone. I would say spend more alone time. I take myself out on dinner dates, lunch dates. I walk by the water. I go walking. I ride my bike. I am a cafe junkie. I take my laptop and I head to the cafe all the time, at least twice a week. I'm going to say even 3. I'm reading, I'm writing, I'm studying, I'm growing, I'm learning. I'm in my alone time. Not being able to be alone is a sign that you're suppressing your emotions instead of healing them. Time block some alone time for yourself and start spending a lot more time alone so that you can really deal with what's really happening in here. I'm going to answer 2 more. How can I handle people who don't understand my healing journey or try to bring me down? So I get this question a lot. Again, not exactly in those words, but something like, what do I say to my brother or my best friend who I feel like isn't really there for me? They're not supporting me. They're whatever it is, right? I get that a lot, okay? I learned the most beautiful thing months after my son passed away. So as a mother, I didn't and still don't know 90% of the time what to say to my son, Captain, who is grieving the loss of his best friend, his mentor, his big brother, his hero. As a mother who's lost her son, I don't even know what to say more than half the time to my son who's also grieving. I get stuck for words. I don't know if I'm saying the right thing, the wrong thing, if I'm talking too much, if I'm not talking enough, if maybe I should show him like my pain, do I cry in front of him? Do I don't? And I tend not to. I cry multiple times a day, still to this day, but I don't show him that. And sometimes I'm like, well, should I show him that? Maybe I get in my head. And so if I don't know what to do or what to say to my grieving son, who's my son and who I love more than life itself, then how can I expect anyone else to say exactly what I think they're supposed to say to me while I'm grieving, or to do what I think they should be doing while I'm grieving? My siblings are also grieving the loss of their nephew. My sister is in turmoil just thinking about losing her nephew, Kino. And she too went through and is going through a grieving stage. There's times where I don't even know what to say to her. Or my other sister, Yinka, who was super, super close with Kino. They spoke multiple times a day. That was like her bestie. I at times don't know what to say to her. I say this to say, don't expect people to understand what it is that you're going through. Because the truth is, fellas, they don't. They don't. No one will ever understand the broken heart, the excruciating pain that I carry in my heart 24 hours a day, and how I have to live with that. Even another mother who has lost her child, we don't have the same story. She knows the pain of losing a child, and so we'll probably understand each other more than, my best friend would understand me, or my siblings, or my parents, or my cousins, or even my son, or even my bonus son, who lost his best friend, his brother. They've been together. He joined our family when he was 14. They've been together since he was 14. That was his one best friend, his brother. They were like this. I, at times, don't know what to say to him. He doesn't know what to say to me, but I can't expect him to. I don't understand him. I didn't lose my sibling. I lost my son. My bonus son and my son didn't lose their parent. They lost their brother. They can't relate to me as a parent. So most of the time, we don't know what to say to each other in terms of, facing the truth, the pain. We laugh about him. We keep his memories alive. We talk about him all the time at home. Multiple times a day. But I can't expect anyone to understand me. You can't expect your best friends, your siblings to understand you. And at times, just silence is good enough. Just sitting in a room with your bestie or your siblings or your parents and just silence, or being able to share a memory or to share what you're going through and not necessarily receive what you think they should say or should do. One more question. What is one piece of advice that you wish you had when you started your journey of healing? Usually it sounds like, what advice can you give me? I'm on a healing journey. I just separated from my partner. I just lost my child or my parent, my job. One piece of advice. If you are on a new healing journey, and my therapist counselor told me this from the very beginning when I lost my son, and I should have listened. While you're on this healing journey, and I'm speaking to those who are new in this journey, and sometimes, it's been 3 years since you separate, or 3 years since you lost that job or that friend, but you didn't take the time to heal. And so you're still walking around with these broken pieces and this baggage. Do not start anything new in the first, I'm going to say, a year. But if you can stretch it to 2 years, stretch it to 2 years. Do not take on anything new. Don't make any new changes. What do I mean by that? Don't move out of your home. Don't buy a new home. Don't leave your relationship if you just lost a child or a parent. Don't immediately walk away from a relationship. Don't start a new relationship. Starting a new relationship in the beginning stages of your grieving journey, you are not seeing clearly. Your judgment is out of whack, like if that's even a word. You're not thinking clearly. You're not seeing clearly. You're not feeling clearly. Everything you're doing is from this place of deep pain, a broken heart. You are hurting. You're broken. And so you're going to attract someone who is broken. And it might not be the same type of brokenness, but he or she is broken. We are attracting what we are. If I'm broken and I'm sad and I've got all this just darkness inside of me, losing this person, I'm going to attract someone who's also dark. If you weren't grieving, you would not have chosen this person. And I'm not saying in all cases. I know 2 individuals who lost a loved one and both met during that time in the first, maybe it was the first 2 years, after about 2 years. And they were both hurting and they healed together and they have a beautiful relationship. They're actually married now. So it's not for everyone, but be very careful in the first year to 2 years of your grieving journey. If you start anything new, remember that it's probably a decision that you wouldn't have made if you weren't grieving. Like, I'm just now starting to see more clear. I stopped praying, I stopped going to church, like I was really just in this dark place. And I'm back in church and I'm praying and reading my word and studying and working on passion projects and launching projects, and I'm back to speaking and working. I'm seeing a lot more clear. So don't start anything new in the first year to 2 years of your grieving journey. Don't move from your home because maybe this is the home that you lived in with this person. Don't start a new relationship. Don't file for divorce. Just go through that 1 year, at least 1 year, before you do anything new. Taking on new projects. Like I said, I'm just now getting back to work. I'm just now taking on projects. I'm just now getting back on stages. I'm launching new things. I'm working on Keno's Foundation. I'm writing a book, and my second book. But it's been over a year. So that is it for my questions. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Again, this was super random. I didn't plan on recording this. And look out for some more videos. I'm going to be recording, hopefully posting every Wednesday. I'll start with every Wednesday. If there are any more questions or topics that you want me to dive into, please drop them in the comment section below or drop me a message in the comment section below. If you got something out of this, of course, show me some love. Like this video, share the video, and of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you'll be notified when I post my next video. Thanks for being here, and remember that you are the light. So get out there and shine your light. Ciao.